Now, here's Brian Rust on News Talk at 101.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Good morning. Thanks so much for waking up with us today. Want to welcome our guest. I'm sorry, I just had a distraction. Want to welcome our guest to the show, Brian Lewis, who is the CEO of Intellicheck. Brian, good morning. How are you?
I am well. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I do appreciate it. And one of the reasons why we have you coming on is because we want to talk about some of the, the technology that you guys have, but what it is that you guys do. Because we were just talking about this off the air, and we've heard about how, people are getting their identity stolen all the time, and, the dangers of that and what that can do. Tell us a little bit, what is it that your company does?
So, for example, where we're being used, coming up, I think starting today in your areas, DSI Security is using Intellicheck on security officers' phones wherever alcohol is being sold to make sure that kids aren't getting alcohol with fake IDs.
Right.
So we can do that on a mobile device. We also do a lot of work with banks and other financial institutions to stop identity theft, your bank account getting taken over or a loan taken out in your name or something like that.
Yeah, that's a scary prospect going on. And, of course, like you just mentioned, today the Gulf Coast Jam starts, and they are using your technology to help out with the underage drinking thing, which, that is, I think sometimes we don't remember how much that is an important issue. Tell us a little bit about how this works, because I understand that people can easily get these new IDs, which is a big problem. But how does your system work when it comes to identifying the underage IDs?
So we've got technology that we know from working with a lot of the states over the years and helping when the states went from a magnetic stripe into a barcode on the back of the license. We know a lot about the embedded security that's in that barcode. So by quickly scanning the barcode, our app turns your phone into a scanner. The security officer will scan the barcode, and within less than a second, it's going to tell them if the license is real or not. And you need that technology because the people making these IDs are really sophisticated. They've got every hologram. They've got, in certain states, you can see through the plastic, looking at it sideways. They know that. These guys are generally in China. They are really good at what they do. And even law enforcement has a really hard time, and they're trained to look at them and see that they're fake.
Wow, that's scary that they're able to do that now. And of course, big shocker that this type of thing is coming from China. But tell us a little bit more about the dangers behind these fake IDs, and how are these kids getting these fake IDs?
I've yet to find anybody in college and a lot of kids in high school who don't know about these websites. There are even websites where you can go and they rate the quality of the ID by website. So they're easy to get. All you got to do is search. They're cheap. If you buy them, get together with your friends. They're as low as $60, and usually at the beginning of the school season they have a sale. They drop it to $40. You can pay in ways that nobody will know. I just went to one of the websites this morning just to see, and you can always pay with crypto, but you can also pay with gift cards. And right now they're accepting Walmart, Home Depot, Best Buy, and Apple. And then what they'll do is they get shipped inside things like a teddy bear. You cut it open, or a really cheap purse. You slit the lining, and they're all in there. So it's simple and easy. And like I said, every kid I've ever talked to knows how to get them.
That's scary. That is scary to think that. I mean, if it's bad enough that they've got to hide them inside of things, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the ultimate goal behind these people that are doing these fake IDs? I mean, obviously it's not on the up and up because, well, it's a fake ID. But if you got to get to a point where you're hiding it and they're coming from places like China, what's their end goal? What are they up to? What's the deal?
I think two things. One, it's extremely profitable. One of these sites, the person who runs it obviously, remains anonymous. admits to being in China, says he gets 10,000 orders a month. Right?
Wow.
So even at low end of $60, that's a lot of money per year. The other thing is, and parents and the kids should understand this, you've now just given your face and a lot of your personal information over to somebody who isn't going to do good things with it. We certainly know that a lot of the organized crime rings that we see on the financial services side often have ties to Chinese gangs. And I think, the reason it's so easy for them is they're getting this information. So you really set yourself up for potential problems down the road because they now have everything about you. And your face is kind of scared because a lot of times what people are looking to do now is use facial recognition to see if it's really you for, say, any kind of remote or online application for financial services. With your photo, they can start to make some really sophisticated deep fakes. So it's a problem.
Wow. That is that's not good. What is being done to kind of hit this and address this problem with this? Because this, not that this is the first time I've ever heard of the criminal identity theft, and identity theft is obviously a big thing. But is there anything that's being done to stop this or trying to address it at all?
Well, it's really hard because it's almost like a game of whack-a-mole. Right? The one site that I was talking about, got shut down, just immediately reopens. It's hard to tell where it's going to because, they're hiding location and, they get rerouted around the world. So a lot of what they're doing is basically interdiction. So, Homeland Security and Customs Border Patrol things are always looking to catch these as they come into the country. But it's such a big issue that's really hard, and I think they're only catching but a small portion of it. I think that certainly law enforcement agencies are realizing that the law has not kept up with technology because just about every state, all it says is you need to do a visual inspection of the license before you sell the alcohol, and that just doesn't work. So you're finding that law enforcement using technology, financial services definitely using technology. We're in over 30,000 retail locations to make sure that somebody doesn't take credit out in your name. Title insurance companies, the amount of homes and land being sold through identity theft, they're realizing they need to use technology. So it's kind of a combination of how do we work with law enforcement. And we're doing things like that in Charleston, which is really cleaned up King Street and their party district. Nuisance crimes are way down. So public-private partnerships and the use of technology, I think, are very important.
Yeah, very good. And again, Gulf Coast Jam, which is getting underway here today, they are using your technology. So if you're going to go an underage drink, you're not going to be doing it at Gulf Coast Jam over the next couple of days. So forget about it on that. Brian, what kind of impact does this identity fraud type stuff and the underage drinking, obviously, with these IDs, what kind of impact does this really have on a lot of communities?
Well, again, I'll go back to Charleston. They're having a real issue on King Street. It's one police district that's one block on each side of King Street, represented the vast majority of all police incidents in Charleston. So that's been cleaned up. But then you look at other things that's happening. I don't know if you saw on the news, but Ocean City, New Jersey, basically now shuts their beaches down around 8 o'clock because over the holiday weekend, they had almost 1,000 incidents with kids, mostly due to them kind of being drunk and stupid. And so, quality of life, tourism dollars, all those things go down. And then when we're talking about the identity theft, last year that was $56 billion was lost through identity theft, and over 15 million Americans had their identity stolen. So it has a big economic impact for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. So obviously, every adult should be, taking care of themselves. But how can parents, help prevent some of this stuff with the kids? What kind of advice would you have for them?
It seems like every study has said that if you just have conversations with your kids.
What? Talk to the kids?
Yes, exactly, right? Shocking.
I know.
But they say that is what works. Let them know the problems and the issues, and that, this doesn't have to be really a rite of passage. You don't have to do these things. You can have a lot of fun without getting, obliterated. Because I'll also say one of the problems is kids who binge drink about 5 times more often than adults. And you look at that, alcohol is known to slow down development of the brain, and kids' brains aren't fully formed until, they're in their early 20s.
Right. So
the sooner you start, studies show your brain doesn't develop, and you're more likely to become an alcoholic later on in life.
Yeah, that is no bueno, and especially with the identity theft thing, people don't realize how much that can really destroy your life, and it's important to have that conversation with the kids. But what can adults do, to help protect themselves when it comes to a lot of this too?
What I say to everybody is get a credit monitoring service. There are plenty of good free ones, and you'll get notified if somebody has taken out credit or something in your name, usually within 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And the quicker you can get on it, the easier it is to prove that it wasn't you. Because if you think about it, it's hard to prove it wasn't you.
Right.
All the information was there. They have it. There's so much data about us that has been breached that even if they ask you sort of challenge questions, it's why I always laugh at my friends who I see on things like Facebook who, there's a list of things, answer these questions, and if you look at them, it's basically all your challenge questions. Who was your third grade teacher? What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? So that's all out there. So you got to be careful. And I'd say just watch your credit.
Yeah, that's why I always make up something completely different. Like, when I ask you for your favorite pet, I'm not going to put down my favorite pet. I'm going to put down something completely different just to challenge it. And it really, truly is amazing how easy, it is to get all this stuff. Like, I just had to do some business the other day where I ended up getting a loan for some stuff through one of my banks. And there was hardly any challenge to it whatsoever. I mean, it was within 5 minutes, and with 3 phone calls I was being interrupted with. Never once talked to anybody at the bank, but I got it all done. And afterwards, I was like, oh, good, really needed this done. And then I stopped and thought about it going, what if this wasn't me? It's amazing how simple that can actually be, which without a doubt is very scary. Brian Lewis. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, account takeover at banks, one of the fastest growing bits of fraud because you can now do so much of it online.
Yeah, that is true. I never go to the bank anymore. It's ridiculous. But Brian Lewis, CEO of Intellicheck. Brian, how can people find out more about the product that you have in case they want to put it in their business or learn more about protecting themselves and their children?
Yeah, just go to Intellicheck.com and you can see the different verticals that we service and easily get in touch with us.
Okay, awesome. Well, Brian, thank you so much for all that you're doing and helping with this fight. And of course, Gulf Coast Jam, which is starting today, implementing your service to help cut back that underage drinking thing. And remember, talk to the kids. That's all. Just start right there. Talk with the kids. Brian, thanks again so much for coming on. We do appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.
You too. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. And it's kind of scary to think about how easy it is for our identity to really, truly be stolen. It really doesn't take that much. And the whole idea that you can order one of these, and I'm glad he didn't go into much detail about ordering it because I did go into the detail earlier and heard how it's not good. It's kind of scary. So having a chat with the kids is a good idea. But if you are going to go underage drinking, not going to happen at Gulf Coast Jam because props to those guys. They are using the technology from Intellicheck. So don't show up with your fake ID because they're going to bust you on that one. Hang on. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. This is the Brian Russ Show. You're listening to News Talk at 101. Good morning.